Well, hello everyone. It is a actually fairly satiated Umber Rays because you know what? I got to finally play some Final Fantasy 16 yesterday and very much enjoyed it. Very much looking forward to the full game. Think it's going to be absolutely top tier. But the Age of Addison Ray is soon to start on Global. But today we're going to be taking a look at JP news, partially because this is mainly a JP channel, but also because I don't want to talk about Addison yet. All right, so today we got pickup match being announced on JP, and then our actual first clue as to what the character was going to be was this arena. Arena info. So we're looking at a dark elemental increase towards like defense and spirit by the looks of it, which is kind of interesting and would indicate a more defensive character. And sure enough, about like a few minutes later, we got the in-game announcement of a brand new dark kind of defensive character. So yeah, this is a character that I know that she is from the story Bronwyn. I don't know. I assume that Global has a name for her. Bronwyn. Please let me know because that's just my like JP version of it, and I'm curious if there's anything different. But and also we have Camrol for a lower tier character, which is kind of nice and pretty notable for a couple of reasons. So let's get into it. The big stuff before we talk about this small stuff, or the some of the maybe indications. So first off, let's talk about this. This is a free character. He is another one of the SSRs that are essentially just lower tier cost. Farm up their shards and you can build them essentially. Taking a look here, we're looking at that is Urel's main job, martial artist, which is a pretty good job overall. And I think I'm going to be quite happy to see this here. There are some things that martial artist is capable of doing that is quite even more than decent. Nightblade potentially gives the option for even more chaining ability, and he does have some range on him. I really quite like this character. You're also looking at reaction block rate, ice killer, and strike attack resistance penetration. So actually his master ability is fairly big. I mean, you're looking at the ally bonus, paralyze resistance, and like just the strike attack resistance penetration might make him pretty effective for a lower tier character. And there's one other key point of note here is the fact that fire does have decent synergy, even a little bit of extra synergy with thunder, which has to do with, of course, right with me at home, Bridal Alaya. That's right. I think that this character will be a potentially a really nice get for anybody who invested in Bridal Alaya. Really. But anyway, yeah, I'm very curious to see what this guy's full kit ends up being, because right now it's looking really decent. He's got a good primary job, a good secondary, and even a decent third job that could provide him with a fair amount of stuff and potentially also give Strike a really good like mid-tier character. For limited cost stuff, yes, there are other strike-based characters, but this is one that's fairly updated with better jobs. I'm going to be very curious to see how this turns out. Now, scooching up a bit, let's talk about Bronwyn, who that's how I'm going to refer to her for the rest of this video for my own sanity. Dark attribute attack up by 15, defense penetration by 15, AP consumption down by 10, which is fairly notable. But you'll also note she's a 70 cost character, which is, pretty low. Dark has been running incredibly high cost characters for the most part. Leela potentially for a low cost one. And I'm curious what this character is supposed to be for a role, because a master ability basically kind of states that she's DPS. You'll also notice that we do have a limit burst here, so that's good news as well. Looks like defense and spirit down, which again indicates a fairly offensive character. But let's actually back up for a second and just talk about her main job, which is Xmas Revise's main job, which in all honesty is not a job that's aged particularly well. Xmas Revise has turned out to be a fairly not as good character as, for instance, like Halloween Leela, or not Halloween Leela, Halloween Lucia, who's also getting closer towards her 140. So, like, you look at just how Xmas Revise has aged, and the fact that there aren't too many characters, or God, I'm not even trying to think of another character who does have that job. It's not super exciting, and this is another 70 tier character that has this. Dragoon, while it does have like one really interesting buff, Paladin is probably almost always what you're going to be running, because I'm assuming that's going to give her Mortal Spirit, and the combination of the two might be decent for basically an alternate cost or an alternative to Wrath for people who don't have Wrath. I mean, this is a permanent character too. And more than anything, I'm particularly pretty happy to see a break from 100 cost characters, even if it is a character that isn't the most appealing. Taking a look, like, her bottom ability is Great Slash. After destroying the physical barrier, deal damage medium. And her top ability, after increasing, Limit Burst, I should say, Crystal Judgment, after increasing own defense penetration rate for 3 turns, damages targets within range, large defense penetration rate, and mental penetration rate for 3 turns, which again supports the idea that she is a kind of anti-offensive but also offensive character, in an interesting way of being able to debuff some of the enemy but also potentially have survive. I'll be interested to see how this unit stacks up. I'm not over the moon or anything, and I think that's just the overall impression that I have. I'm far more excited for the low tier Fire Fist character than I am for the low tier or low cost dark elemental character. But since most people have heavily invested into so many dark characters at this point, this is probably a fairly safe skip. And of course, as I've said, this character is going to be farmable for his shards, which is good news. Now, just double checking to make sure there is anything else before I talk about this. There's one more thing that is worthy of talking about, which is a 70 cost character. These have been tending to show up around collaboration announcements. Now, before anybody says anything, no, there has not been really much of a whisper or whimmer that some kind of collaboration is coming. It could be just a repeat collaboration, such as it could just be Tactics again with no new characters. It could be Final Fantasy 13 with Fang only. It could be, which is very unlikely because we just happen to have it. It could be Nier. All of those things could happen and just be low-key collaborations, and that's essentially it. There's also a new Final Fantasy launching, which allows me to talk about 16 again. But anyway, yes, Final Fantasy 16 is coming out, and the timing of this could be considered to be more than a little suspect. Of a 70 cost character that will probably have another banner on JP that's, this kind of, hey, you spend 16k, you get the character guaranteed, it's free Lapis, you don't even have to worry about it. And yeah, JP might be just looking to push a major collaboration out if they've just kind of been working on it. Because could happen. It definitely could happen. 16 is, going to be hot, fresh, and exciting. And we could see that collaboration pop up. Again, I'll preface all this supposed talk with just the big commentary that this is circumstantial. It could be just a 70 cost character to give a little bit of a break because it has been so many 100 cost characters. But if there is another collaboration around the corner, which very much could be to raise hype and everything. I pointed it out. But anyway, not always indicative, but potentially something to keep an eye on. So yeah, that's pretty much it for JP news this week. Going to be a fairly slow week, which, you know, given that we're post Tears of the Kingdom in the middle kind of E3, but not E3 week. The FF16 demo is out, as well as a few other demos, and we're still getting like conferences with Game Fest, and like 16 is coming out in almost a week's time. This feels like a fairly nothing week. Next week should be another vision card, and July potentially could be the introduction of a collaboration if the timing on this works out, and we are hinting something. On the other hand, could just be summer units, but those I want to say are going to be August, if which is probably swimsuit glassy for anyone who's following at home. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Take care, and see you next time.